In this video, I brought on our Go High Level and AI expert for the GSD family, Adam McInnes, who actually is going to show you exactly step by step how to build a fully automated personal assistant that can do everything you'd want it to do, including responding to personal emails, responding to text messages that come inbound, responding to missed inbound calls to your business, setting appointments, and everything in between. This thing can operate through email, through text message, and through the system. And all it takes is a simple step-by-step process to build it and set it up, be able to engineer the prompts correctly, and connect GHL, Go High Level, to ChatGPT. This thing is absolutely super powered and can replace 90% of the VA and EA, that is virtual and executive assistant tasks that you might be having your personal assistants do right now. So without further ado, let's dive in, watch the video. This is again a step-by-step framework on how to build your very own AI automated personal assistant using Go High Level and ChatGPT. Let's dive in. Guys, we have a good one for you today. Okay, we brought back Mr. Adam and Mr. Brandon. Guys, wave your hands. Say hello. Hello, guys. You are our GSD, GHL, so many G's, so many acronyms, experts. We are going to be talking about something that I think matters a lot. You know, these online businesses, these virtual kind of companies that we all have used to be run very much like a solopreneurship business. And then the first hires you would always make, if you're using the correct methodology, is to replace admin work, is to go out and hire a virtual assistant, is to go out and hire a personal assistant. Well, something amazing has happened over the course of the last, I guess it's a year and a half now, something like that. The ChatGPT's been around.
Year and 2 months.
A year. Not long. Man, has the world ever evolved in that time? But now with this technology, but not alone, it's with this technology plus the superpower that is Go High Level. If you don't know what Go High Level is, go to joinghl.com to get a free 30-day trial of the software. But with these two things, you now get your very own personal assistant, virtual assistant, that can do things like monitor and reply to your emails, monitor and reply to missed calls that might come in, be able to set appointments for you, be able to manage all of this stuff fully conversationally. And the best part is they never go to sleep. You got that drunk client on a Saturday night at 3 a.m. that wants you to answer them right now or you're fired. Guess what? Your very own personal AI assistant that my man Adam and my man Brendan are going to teach you guys how to build from the ground up today will do it for you. Never will you have to have a client or yourself that misses a call again and misses out on that revenue. Never will you have to worry about speed to lead ever again, because you have a 24/7 instantaneous employee that you can actually train by simply changing the words around on the screen. I know how many setters and assistants I've had that no matter how many times I repeated exact instructions to them, they simply couldn't understand how to fucking talk to a person. Well, now if that happens with your AI powered one, guess what? You go in, you change a couple words on the prompt, and suddenly they do exactly what you want them to do. Who thinks that that would be an amazing thing to have, not only for your business, but to be able to go out and sell to somebody else? Guys, I think this kind of stuff is absolutely game changing, as you can tell by my obvious excitement. So without further ado, let's just roll it over. Let's get into building it. Let's give it up for Adam and Brendan, and I'll pass it off to you guys.
Cool. So before I actually get started in showing you all of the AI stuff, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. I'm going to give you a little bit of my background because I think it's important. Back when COVID hit was when I got laid off from my full-time job, and I had already started my agency on the side. And I just said, okay, time to go. I'm going full-time, all in agency. Let's rock and roll. And for about 8 months, I struggled to get anything done, to sell anything. I found High Level. I started nerding out on it and getting really, really good at using High Level, but I still couldn't sell anything to save my life. And it took me about 8 months of following Cody and Rahul before I decided to pull the trigger. And I didn't trust them as far as I could throw them, to be quite honest, because they were just another set of those online gurus that were out there. But you know, after a number of these types of webinars with them, I really understood that they knew what the hell they were talking about. And so I joined the GSD, late in 2020. And it didn't take me very long to end up becoming a coach and a partner in the GSD with them because of what I do. But I want to make a really long story really short, and basically say the first call I ever had with Cody after I joined the GSD was a strategy call. It was, let's figure out what you're doing, where you're heading, and what we need to actually build and put in place for you to actually scale and launch a profitable business. Now, by this point, I had made probably a grand total of $800 in 8 months. So for those of you that are struggling agency owners that, maybe aren't making the money that you think you should be making or want to be making, that's what I was making over the course of 8 months. So if you put that into, divide that by 8, that's $100 a month roughly that I was making when I was first starting out. Anyways, call with Cody. We get an action plan put together. We created an offer. And by the way, that offer that we created required things that I did not yet have. Okay. So it required that I built a team. It required that I hired ISAs to be able to manage client leads and all of that sort of stuff. But the next rule was, okay, this is the roadmap. Go and sell it. And then figure it out from there, which is, thank God I had guys like Cody and Rahul to help me figure out how to hire and who to hire and all of that sort of stuff. So I did exactly that. Within the course of, I think 2 months, I had made an extra $20,000 in monthly recurring revenue because of this action plan that was put together. But the reason that I bring all of this up when we're talking about AI was that step number 1 for me was to create the offer. And step number 2 was to build the fulfillment team to fulfill on that offer. And that, I'll tell you, from a guy that had never run a business before, never managed people, never built SOPs, never did any of that stuff, man, was that ever intimidating as hell. I've always been good with people, so I wasn't too worried about managing people, but finding those people, training those people to do exactly what I wanted them to be able to do, following up with them and managing their conversations, listening to all of their call recordings, all of that kind of stuff that comes with, being a boss, being a CFO or whatever you want to call yourself. That's all part of building a business. And the reason that I bring that up is I went from $0 to $20,000 in a span of 2 months. And now you can do that probably even faster and without needing to go through that process of hiring VAs that you have to manage, that you have to kind of control their time. You got to listen to their call recordings and, do constant training with them to make sure that they're saying the right things, doing the right things, taking the right actions. You can replace probably 90% of what those VAs or ISAs or assistants would be doing for you with AI. And so we're going to show you guys exactly how we do it. So follow along, buckle up, because there's going to be a ton of information that we're going to be throwing in your face. So if you guys are ready, we're going to show you how to not only just build a basic one, but use it so that you can modify it to basically do whatever you want it to do. Genuinely, that's what we've kind of built in here. So with that being said, before I start, I want to answer a question that I always get. We're going to show you guys how to do this using HighLevel, Zapier, and ChatGPT. And the question that I get all the time is, why don't you just use conversational AI inside HighLevel? Why don't you just use that? Or why don't you use the ChatGPT function directly inside HighLevel? Well, the reason for that is that Brendan and I here spent over 160 hours building and breaking and testing and throwing our computers through walls because things just weren't working the way that we wanted them to. And this by far is the best methodology for AI. And just to make my point on that, I turned on conversational AI in one of our marketing accounts. I added all the information that I needed to add to it. I put it in there and I accidentally turned it on. I didn't even mean to turn it on, but I did. I went through all of the testing and it was on. And over the holiday break here, we ended up getting a phone call or something, and it kicked off and it started texting this person. And I quickly had to run from playing with my kids to my computer and turn that thing off because it was absolutely horrible. Couldn't answer a single question anybody asked, and it also would not roll over to book an appointment for that person. Instead, it offered it appointment times that weren't even in my calendar. It made no sense. And so anyways, that was an absolute debacle nightmare using the conversational AI because it's not what it's meant to do. You're going to hear me say this a lot over the course of the next, I guess, 45 minutes now. One of the things that's really, really important with AI is you need to put that AI in a box to do exactly what you want it to do. We're going to talk about things like temperature, which is going to make a lot more sense once we get into it, but you want to keep that temperature relatively low so that your AI stays in a box. AI and technology in general is an amazing tool, but it oftentimes can't replace that human touch point that's going to push things over the edge. So for minor administrative tasks, for booking sales calls, for selling low ticket products, absolutely you can get AI to do all of that stuff for you. And we're going to dive into that right now. So as Cody mentioned, we like HighLevel. Brendan and I love HighLevel. Well, we love and we hate HighLevel. Let me just be honest about that. Most people that use HighLevel both love and hate HighLevel, but we also think AI is freaking awesome. Like we said, it's been a year and 2 months, since it's really been fully launched. And Brendan and I have spent a good chunk of time messing around and creating AI systems just to see what it can do. And so what we're going to show you today is a very basic, simple, how do you actually get this set up? How do you actually build something like this? You're going to have to ignore some of the background noise because Brendan and I, when we build something, we build it with all angles considered. Every possible outcome of what could happen if is all built into this system that I'm going to be showing you guys in. But I want you guys to at least get the basic core principles of how you can actually build a conversational AI. So there's going to be some stuff in here that you can ignore. There's going to be some stuff in here that if you want to make a super simple AI system, this is how you do it. So first things first, we're going to go into your settings and we're going to go into your custom fields because there's a couple of custom fields that you are going to need to create in order to get your AI to do what you want it to do. So we've got a folder called AI response folder. Okay, so the first field that you're going to need is an AI assistant response large text field. Okay, let me make that very clear. Large text field. The other one that we like to use, and it's very, very important, is an AI memory key. Because if you want your AI to have intelligent conversations based off of conversation history, and you want it to remember what people have said, you need to have a unique memory key. We've got AI initial message, and then we've got AI prompt. And this one is fairly unique in how we build our AI systems, is that instead of doing the prompting externally, we actually do the prompting internally, which gives us a ton of control over what we can actually do with our AI without having to go and create multiple zaps for different scenarios that we want our AI to accomplish. Okay, we can use one prompt, one zap, and we can now make this thing do literally whatever we want, whenever we want it to, just by changing a trigger and changing a prompt. Okay, and that will all make more sense in just a little bit. Another one that we take is the AI message body. This one's for a little bit more of a complex function, but keep that in mind. AI current role is an informational one only. And then the rest of these are basically more advanced features that we don't need to get into today. But those are the basics that you need. So an AI assistant response field, an AI memory key, AI initial message, an AI prompt, AI message body are the core pieces that you need to build this out. Those are the core things that you need from a custom field standpoint. And just to be clear so that everybody knows what I'm talking about here, custom fields are contact specific, whereas custom values are system wide for that specific account. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to jump over here into custom values because this is what we use to kind of put this thing on autopilot for all of our clients that get this thing. We've got standard fields that pretty much every single snapshot that ever exists should have. But then we've got all of our AI fields. And so let's go and quickly show those. We've got AI assistant's name. We've got keywords for kicking off your AI. We've got a calendar link that needs to be sent. We've got company name. We've got company speciality. So this is all just training your AI. We've got database reactivation keywords, a link to grab something for a database reactivation, your offer details, and how are we getting in through SMS. We've got FAQs. We've got a whole bunch of stuff in here that you can just send your client a form and say, fill this out. They can hit submit. And then all of a sudden, they've got an AI that's ready to rock and roll for their business and their offers. Okay. So this will make sense again once we get into the prompting structure. But let's go into our automations. Now you're going to see, again, a lot of fluff here that you don't need to worry about. What we're going to focus on is SMS structures. These 3 workflows are the only 3 workflows that you actually need to make AI do a thing. Okay, these are the only 3 that you need to make AI actually function and work. We have a whole bunch of extra channels in our Core 4 AI system that are all built kind of in a unique fashion, but they follow the same basic principles that are in these ones here. So,
okay, so just channels for communications, they're all exactly the same.
And I will show you guys the Facebook one, the Facebook, GMB, Instagram, they're all kind of the same. But there's one unique thing that you need to be aware of when you're dealing with social media channels that's different from SMS. So, all right, let's go into it. Okay. Again, there's going to be a lot of filler stuff in here because Brandon and I think about as much as we possibly can think about to make a system do exactly what it should do, nothing more and nothing less. So the first things first, you need to have a trigger. How are people going to get into your AI? And this can be anything, guys. I want to make that perfectly clear because the way that we send the prompt structures, you can have a lead form, kick this off. You can have a trigger link click, kick this off. You can have an appointment booked, kick something like this off. You can have an appointment no-show, kick this thing off. It all depends on what your triggers are up on the top here. Okay, so pick your poison. What's going to get people into the AI system? We check to see if the AI already exists on the contact. And if it does, we just kick it out because we don't want to reboot the AI unless we do, but we'll get into that at another time. You know, a quick wait, and then we add the AI assistant tag. Now, this is really, really important because like I said before, AI is not perfect. AI is going to make mistakes, and you need a way that you can quickly and easily kill it. If it's doing the wrong things or it's saying the wrong things or it's, you know, it's getting out of its box, which sometimes, depending on how you set it up, it can get out of its box. So we add an AI assistant tag. In this case, we remove demo tags because we have a whole demo system built into this as well. We update the contact field for the AI memory key. And with this, we just use right now year, month, day, minute, second, because that is going to be a unique number that is going to be tied to that specific client. It's going to be very, very, very rare that you have 2 clients come in at the exact same second. In fact, I've never seen it happen. So that's how we create the memory key to be a unique and specific key to that specific conversation. Next up, we add a tag, and this is specifically for channels. So if you just wanted to use SMS, this step would not be required. But if you wanted to use multiple channels, you do need to now differentiate which channel you're going to be actually engaging on for the next workflow. And then in this case, again, we remove all other communication tags based off of other channels because we don't want it to communicate on those channels. We want it to communicate on the channel it came in on. Now, this is where our system kind of becomes a little bit more unique, and you guys can do it too. Basically, we've got 3 different types of AIs that we like to operate with. Okay, booking, database reactivation, and well, we have missed call text back in here as well, but that goes into a booking bot. And then low ticket sales would be the other one that we like to do. And basically all you need to do here is you need to tell the system which trigger is going to which bot type, because I mentioned all the different triggers that you could do. And now you need to tell it which bot you want it to engage with. And your bot, guys, use your imagination. Your bot can be whatever you want it to be. We've just broken ours into these 3 different structures. Okay, so we're going to go down the booking branch because that's 90% of the time what you would have a VA doing is, you know, engaging with new leads and getting them to book an appointment, see if they're interested in services, and so on and so forth. So this one here is just, it's an internal notification thing for us that says, yeah, this bot's currently sitting in the booking bot mode. really has no consequence at all other than to let us know what was our bot doing. We have to initiate a conversation with a text message. And especially when it comes to A2P, all of that fun stuff, this has to be sent, especially if it's a brand new opt-in. You have to send a message that can confirm that they are who they say they are. This will also have our opt-in, opt-out message that comes along with it, but we need to generate a response from the lead from the client right out of the gate here. So we just sent this. Now you'll notice that we use the custom values, right? So we've got custom value AI assistant name. We like to call ours Marcus. And then from the custom values company name. Now you can use location named if you're using the location for the company's friendly name. That's totally fine. Thanks for requesting more information. Can you please confirm this is Adam? That is the first message that needs to go out, and they need to just reply to that. Any reply will do, but they need to reply to it. We then take that SMS and we update this AI initial message right here. So that is the message that we just sent, and we use that so that we can tell our bot that when they reply, this was the initial engagement message, the initial engagement conversation that happened. And then we are going to update the AI prompt custom field with the whatever prompt we want to give it. Okay. And this is where you can now start to create extremely flexible AI systems, because depending on the trigger or how they're getting down a certain route, you can then literally come in here, change the prompt whenever you want to be whatever you want, and your bot is now ready to rock and roll. And so we base all of these prompts off of this prompt sheet right here, which basically has all of our setup instructions and all of that sort of stuff. But I want to show you guys, I'm going to show you guys our catch-all prompt, because this one is a great prompt to just kind of do a little bit of everything to kind of get exactly what they need at any given time. So we use this for it's called a catch-all. It's like if it doesn't fall into any one of these other categories, but we still want the AI to engage, this is the prompt that we use so that the AI can book calls, sell stuff, and potentially do database reactivations and the things like that. So first things first, when it comes to prompting your AI, you need to tell the AI who they are. Okay. We're building the personality and the persona of your AI. So the first thing we do is say, you are a business administrator for this company. You are, and then we give it a personality. So funny, persistent, and pick another one. That is the AI's personality. Okay. Your job is to engage with customers and prospects that reach out to our business and help them get the right information that they are looking for. You have the ability to book calls, give information about products and services, as well as sell low-ticket products and services based on the customer's request. So now we're telling the AI what it is allowed to do. Okay. Next, we're going to give it some information about our company, or about your client's company, or about your company. Doesn't matter. Our company specializes in, you'll notice that we had that custom value there for what we specialized in. The more information you give your AI, the better it can actually cooperate and do what you want it to do. We also sell, and then the product name is also a custom value. But if you want to ignore custom values right now, you can go ahead and ignore custom values, and you can just fill in the blanks with your own information here, and it will operate exactly the same. Okay. Here's a list of frequently asked questions. So we've got the FAQ1 and the answer, the FAQ2, the answer, FAQ3, and the answer. Here's more information about our primary product that people may ask about. Here's the product name. Here's the product pricing. Here's the details on the product category it's in. The prospect sent a text message with the keyword showing interest in our product. You will use what you know about sales psychology to engage this prospect to purchase the product. Here are the benefits that will help you sell this product. So now all we're doing is we're filling the gaps for the AI. We're training the AI, telling it as much as we possibly can about the product and its benefits. Your primary objective is to help answer any questions the client may have about our company, services, and products. Your second objective is to book a call. When a client indicates they would like to book a call, respond by asking, would you like to book a call? So again, we are going to keep our AI in a box as much as we possibly can. We're telling it exactly what we want it to do and when we want it to do it. Your third objective is to sell our product or service. When the client shows intent or interest in purchasing, you will provide them with this link to purchase. And then again, This is a link right here. I want to make something very clear because a lot of people that buy this, the biggest thing that they come back to us with is, hey, the AI is just sending link in brackets, but it's not actually sending the link. If you're going to get AI to send a URL, you need to strip out the HTTPS portion of the URL, and you need to just make it a www dot URL or a subdomain URL. Strip out HTTPS, otherwise it won't send the link. So just be aware of that. And then you will limit your responses to 50 words or less. Now, I'm going to say this so that you guys can take it for what you will and try to use your imagination here. Do not prompt your AI with negative prompt, meaning do not do this. Don't say that. If you prompt your AI that way, it will ignore it. It cannot compute negative prompts inside the system. So you need to rethink your do nots into reply this way or do it this way. Instead of saying do not, try to make it more of a positive spin, and then this whole prompting structure works way, way better. And again, that's from about 160 hours of me and Brendan trying to throw our computers through a wall because the AI kept on saying, great, 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 great. We called it getting on the great train until we figured out how to tell it to stop getting on the great train by being positive. So there's a basic outline and structure of your prompt. You're going to tell your AI who they are, give them their personality. You're going to tell them what they are going to do and what their goals are. Then you provide it with any relevant information that they need to know in order to actually appropriately go and sell a product or book a call. Give it any background information that you can. And then you're going to give it its overall objectives for the outcome that you want your AI to achieve. Okay. So in a nutshell, workflow number one sets the tone, sets the AI memory key, sets the prompt, sends the first message, adds a tag, and now your AI is ready to go to start to have a conversation with somebody. Okay. Now we need the client to reply. And that's really how this whole AI thing is going to get kicked off in the first place. So again, there's going to be a couple of things in this workflow that we can ignore. But for the most part, we're all good. Now, the trigger is customer replied. In our case, we want all channels because we have it set up to work on all channels. Has tag needs to be here. Okay. And this is effectively your kill switch for your AI. If a client responds to anything else and they don't have that tag, then your AI is not going to engage with that client. Okay. Because there's going to be human rollover every single time, I can guarantee it. Right. So this effectively is our kill switch. But if they have this tag, it means that the AI is engaging with that customer. Okay. And that's how they're going to get into this workflow. So customer replied, you can label, you can narrow this down to your channel if you want to. But then AI assistant tag exists and now your AI is good to go. I'm going to skip this because it doesn't matter. I'm going to skip that because it doesn't matter. We update AI message body with message body. So message body, for anybody who does not know, if you're using a customer response trigger in any way, shape, or form, you will have access to message body. And that is going to be the most recent thing that that customer said. Okay. That is only going to be available in this instance of this workflow. You cannot use it anywhere else or at any other time. So the reason that we take AI message body and we back up the message body is now we have a backup of the last thing that was said, that if the customer is unresponsive or does not engage, we can use that AI message body to send it back to the AI and say, hey, here was the last thing that was responded to. Here was your last message. Here's what they said. They've been unresponsive for X amount of hours. Here's your new instructions to go and re-engage this customer. Okay. But you cannot do that with message body if you just have the message body. You have to back it up to another field. Okay. We're going to skip this because this is all social media related items. The basis of this is that you need an email address. If you're going to use the social media channels, you need an email address to tie the response back to the contact. Now, again, you can ignore all of this stuff for now. 99% of the time, they're going to get dumped out this direction, and we're going to send a webhook to Zapier. Now, we use our webhook in a custom value. And then we are, in this case, updating an opportunity to say, yeah, this person responded to the AI, whether positive or negative. We don't care. They responded. Okay. But now we're sending the webhook. And this is where all the magic truly starts to happen. If you're not familiar with webhooks, basically, Brendan and I both use a different analogy. I use a pitcher analogy from, professional baseball. The pitcher has a ball of information and he just chucks that ball of information over to the catcher, and the catcher catches all that information and then can process it. That's what a webhook is. Okay. So all we're doing is we're going to take this URL right here, and that is our webhook URL. So that is the URL that HighLevel is passing all that information over to. And then Zapier is going to catch it all and format it so that you can use it, is effectively all that is. So we're webhooking the conversation data, the prompting information, everything over to Zapier through here. Okay.
Hey, Adam, really quick. There's a question that's very important at this point, which is, besides Zapier, what other can we use? Meaning, what other processor can we use instead of Zapier in order to run this AI system?
You could, if you wanted to figure it out, build a full custom API connection between HighLevel and ChatGPT. But that's going to take a heck of a lot more time than this. Pabbly is another one that you could use. Make is another one that you could use. The biggest problem that we found with those other platforms is that they do not have a memory key function within the ChatGPT sections, so that it can actually hold memory of that conversation, which is why Zapier for us has been the best. There's been a couple of Pabbly add-ons that have come out that you can do some memory key functionality with it, but it also requires you to go into the OpenAI back end and set up a whole bunch of extra stuff on the back end to create a personality, and all of it. It's a lot more difficult to go through those routes. And I like fast. I like done is better than perfect, and just get it launched and live quickly, which is why we like this, because it just works. Just copy one workflow and off you go. We're going to use ChatGPT's function in the next step for the conversation event. Okay. And all of this stuff is actually all in our prompt sheet right here. So we're going to continue. You do need to have an OpenAI API key. If you don't know how to do that, I've got one on my YouTube channel that'll show you how to do it. But for now, we'll just kind of keep on rolling through here. User message is, what did the user say? So with the message body, which we are using the AI message body in order to fill in that gap. What model are we using? We're going to be using 3.5 Turbo. ChatGPT 4 is available and it is better. But one of the things that ChatGPT 4 uses a lot more tokens per minute. And so what ends up happening is if somebody's having a continuous conversation with your AI after about the third message, you've run out of tokens for that minute. And any other conversation that comes in later after that fact is going to also be delayed in its response time. And sometimes that response time delay for us has taken like 2 hours, depending on what the token count is. So ChatGPT 4, while the responses are better, you will run out of tokens per minute very, very quickly. And therefore your bot's just going to wait until you have more tokens available, and then it will send the response. So maybe that's more realistic human interaction. I don't know, but I wanted to get back to that person quickly, which is why we use this model here. All right, memory key. So this is the function that the other platforms don't have or have not mastered yet that Zapier has. Using the memory key, that's going to be your year, month, minute, second, like so. This is new. That'll be fun. We'll have to play with that, Brendan.
The image one? Sorry,
yeah.
On the screen. Yeah, I did see that.
What's the user's name? So you got the contact first name. What is your AI assistant's name? Again, we pass that through the prompting in the custom values and the custom fields. What is the instructions? So this is where your prompt is going to go. Okay, the prompt that is getting built inside that first workflow, that's where this is going to go. This is the instructions that you're giving to your AI. Max tokens of 250. temperature of 0.5. So I said that I was going to talk about temperature. I am going to talk about temperature. Temperature is basically how rigid do you want your AI to be? Okay, do you want to give your AI full creative freedom? Make it 1.5. If you want your AI to stay in a box, keep it lower on the, we like 0.5, 0.6, because we want our AI to do exactly as we tell it to do and not deviate. What you'll end up getting if you increase that temperature to 1, 1.5, or 2 is your AI will just start making shit up. It'll start telling customers that you do X, Y, and Z thing that you don't do, or it'll try to book the appointment. Even though you told it that if it wants to book an appointment, it has to use specific keywords. It'll try to book an appointment without reference to your calendar. It does all sorts of crazy and wild things the higher that temperature goes. And so we want to keep it in a box and to do exactly what we tell it to do. Top P, basically the same thing, but just in a different methodology.
It's top,
we
it's
ignore
top percentage. And what that means is, or top probability. So it takes all the probabilities that are out there of a possible answer and then restricts it to, if you put, 0.2, that's got the top 20% of its responses. So only mess with one, don't mess with both. We like temperature versus top P.
This will then, when you retest this step, it will generate the reply for you right here. And the next step is to get that reply back to HighLevel, tied to that contact record so that you can send that response to the customer. Okay. This doesn't have to be difficult. It's literally, well, I'll show you. We're going to add update contact with lead connector. Again, if you're not familiar with how to connect that specific sub account, we've got videos on that on our YouTube channel, so you can go watch those. We're connecting it to a specific sub account. Now, we like to do full name, phone number, and email. Sometimes we won't have all of that information because if it's a missed call text back, we won't have name and we won't have email. But one of the two things that you absolutely need is a phone number or an email. Okay, if you have one of those two things that you can tie to a contact, this will work. If you don't, you need to create it, which I'll show you as a little bonus feature at the end, how we do it with our social media ones. But that's all you need is name, email, phone number, and then you're going to mark lead as true. And then we are going to update AI assistant response custom field with the AI's reply. That's it. That's all we got to do. And then we just go and we hit save, and then you retest the step. Okay, now this is going to lead us directly into workflow number 3, which is, drum roll, please. AI assistant response. Okay, in its simplest format, you only have to do one thing here. AI assistant response has changed. So your filter is that the custom field for AI assistant response has changed. That's it. That's all you got to do. Okay. Now we do this condition here because in our hours of testing, we'd clear the field and then we get an empty text message. And so what we wanted to do is to make sure that, hey, if that field is empty, don't continue. Because that makes no sense. Don't send me a blank text. Again, with our system here, we check what channel. So we're using that channel tag right here to decide, hey, which route are we going down? And in this case, it's SMS. Okay, so this is where we are sending the text message. And all we are sending is the custom field for AI assistant response that just got updated by Zapier with ChatGPT's AI assistant response, and it sends as a text message. Okay, so now that you know this, think of all the different possibilities that you can get ChatGPT to do for you. In fact, in our GHL mastery group, we had actually Cedric. I thought I saw you come in here. Cedric was doing some pretty cool stuff where he was actually entirely building out a customer's website copy, H1, H2, H3 headers, like everything for an SEO level service using ChatGPT. And so all he did was he created those response types as a custom field in HighLevel and then updated all of them and then delivered all of them to his customer. So he took what otherwise would have taken, a 10 or 15 hour copywriting session for a website, and he let ChatGPT do it all for him. right? So just to give you some more ideas of what you can do with this exact same structure. And that's it. That's just sent a text message to the client, and then the client replies back. AI has the conversation history. It has all of that, and can now have an engagement with that customer. Does anybody have any questions so far? And if not, I'm going to show you guys the social media structure for this because it's a little bit unique. If anybody's got a question, I'm going to let somebody come off mute.
Let's
and
go
I'm
with,
going to give you.
let's just address real quickly because, you know, like Terry said, are you going to show how to actually build this thing or giving an overview? If you're paying attention, Terry, I'd like you to go back and potentially rewatch the replay here because he has gone step by step. And there has been builds, prompt examples, and then right there, the exact Zapier setup and all that kind of stuff. As Preston said, you know, the time versus money thing here, it's that this is a complicated thing to actually go in and push all the buttons and everything is one thing, but to show the build in a way that's concise for you guys is what we're trying to accomplish. So hopefully what you guys are seeing is the step-by-step process here because he has gone through each of those. Now we're giving out some other examples of all this stuff. You should be able to watch this video 100%, buy it yourself. Like you should be able to build it for yourself. The only reason we drop the link in there to buy it if you want is because a couple of people that asked for it. So if you want to skip it and just have it set up that way, it's right there for you. But otherwise, you should be able to watch this video a couple times and 100% build this yourself. And we got Rob has a question as well. So
and I'll just make a quick response to that and give you literally a bullet point Cole's notes of what you need to do to build this. You need 3 custom fields. Okay. If you want to make this the simplest build you can possibly make it, you need 3 custom fields. You need the AI assistant response. You need the AI memory key. And then message body is probably one that we would recommend using, but
I'd
really
say
those
for prompt you could do as well.
prompt is probably another
Probably
good
a good one.
So those custom fields you need to have. Okay. In the first workflow, you need a trigger, and then you need to basically have that trigger fire, update the prompt. However you want to update your prompt, send your first message, and then add a tag for your AI. Okay. In its simplest format, that's what you got to do. Okay. Step 2, when the customer replies and has the tag for your AI, you got to send a webhook. Okay. Send a webhook to Zapier, set up Zapier the way we just showed you using the name, email, phone number, and prompt. And then when you get that reply, you update the AI response field, which is, I guess, field number 5 that you need to create. When AI response field has changed, send text to customer. That's it. You're done. Okay. So that's in its simplest format, what I just went through. Those are the things that you need to do in order to create a very basic version of this. Rob, you got your hand up. What's going on, my man?
Hey, brother. Yeah, for anybody that's asking, definitely I watched your video and I built it. So,
it's possible. You're telling me that if you take action, you can do it.
Yeah, it is actually possible. So thank you for that. What I noticed after I had built it, and you could just give me feedback however much time you have. This is your show. But it's basically, I just noticed there was such a delay for me from the response of the AI to the person. You know, is there a way to speed it up or anything like that? I don't know if you're going to cover
Which
it. Which
model are you using?
3.5, is that what you mean? The ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT 3.5, 16K 0613.
I think that's the one I'm using. It. Let me if I look on my ChatGPT, yeah, that should be it.
Rob, to go really to go into that, we would have to check the audit logs for when the webhook was sent. Go into Zapier, check when it was received, how long it took for ChatGPT to write the response, get it back into the customer. So, not the place for that right now. But yeah, if it's delaying, there is one setting inside Zapier that you need to make sure that you have turned on, and that's it's basically allows it to re-engage automatically if there's a delay. So if ChatGPT doesn't reply fast enough, it's a little toggle switch, and it'll automatically try to re-engage if there's a failure or anything goes wrong. Just make sure that you've got that turned on. I believe it's in your history tab inside Zapier. You just turn it on. And it'll automatically retry if it's taking too long. So
Oh, I know. Which it's like an auto reply, an auto retry type of thing.
Auto retry.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know
exactly.
exactly what you mean. Okay, cool. No, but hey, listen, thank you so much. It worked. So
Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff, man.
mission
Well,
accomplished.
check the handoff from HighLevel into Zapier. Check Zapier's logs. See when that comes back in your response workflow. Check through those. Just check all those logs. See where that time interrupt is happening.
Yeah,
That's
just
gonna
make
tell you
note
what's
of
going
the
on.
timestamps is really all you got to do.
We had it one time, and this is really all that it was. It came back to HighLevel, and HighLevel took forever to process the response.
Yeah,
Out of our hands. Can't do crap.
Right.
Yeah. true.
So-
True.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
I'm gonna keep on rolling, and I'm gonna show you guys. There's one unique element to the social media side. If you wanted to use this inside Instagram or Facebook or Google My Business, I'm still waiting for HighLevel to put their new web chat widget in workflows. And once they do, you'll be able to do this on live chat as well. Right now, live chat only uses their conversational AI, and it just doesn't work very good. So I won't bother with it until it's ready to go in workflows, and I can control it. Okay, customer response via Facebook. Okay, that's just an example. This is exactly the same in all of the channels, just so you guys know. We're doing all of the exact same things. We're removing the demo tags. We're going to update the memory key. We're going to add tag for Facebook. We're going to remove all other communication channels, and we're going to update the contact field, which is the new thing that we do. Wait a second. That's not the right one. Where is it? Down here.
It's down here.
So one of the things that we do here is if the email address is not empty, we're fine. We can still follow the same. So if this is an existing customer in your database that reaches out through Facebook and you've already got their email address or their phone number, you're good to go. Okay, so you can send this webhook and you're off to the races. If that email address doesn't exist, so this is a brand new customer that's reaching out to you through DMs on Facebook Messenger, you need to create an email address so that you can tie AI's response back to that contact record. Okay, so what we did, which works like a charm, is we take the memory key that we just recently created just up top here, and then we @fakeemail.com, because it does not matter if it's a real email or a fake email. It doesn't not matter. It just has to be a unique email identifier that's going to tie the AI's response back to that client, back to that contact record. Okay. Now in our social media prompts, which I won't dive into right now, we basically tell the AI, hey, at some point you need to get their email address. Okay. And if they reply, which we go back into our client response workflow. Again, we don't care what channel that comes in on, because we're going to filter it out from here. But we have this condition here. Does the replied message contain @ and period? Because every email has those two things in it. So if the replied message contains those things, go down this route. And here's something, guys, that's going to make your imaginations go completely wild with what you can do with AI. Not just conversational AI, but AI inside HighLevel. We take the message body from that response that contained @ and dot, and just say, parse out the customer's email from this response, respond with just their email. Low temperature, do exactly what I just told you to do. And then we can update the contact field for email with ChatGPT's response.
By the way,
now you've got a brand new email for that customer.
That right there has never failed on us because
Never.
of how it's been verbalized to ChatGPT. It has never failed on us.
Yeah. And so now if in the conversation they've got a fake email, but ChatGPT asks them what their email is, now you can have it override the fake email with their actual email, and Bob's your uncle. Now you're back into the standard of ChatGPT conversational flows. And that, guys, in a nutshell, is how you can build your own AI inside HighLevel, just like that.
Cool. That was freaking fantastic, guys. Anything else that you want to learn from this right now before we move into the private coaching session part of the thing where we get some Q&A with these guys. I know Adam's going to run in, I think, a few minutes, so I want to hop over into that. But I think we covered pretty much everything, guys. I think that covered it all. So if you appreciated it, drop some love for Adam in the comments. All right, guys, anybody have questions, feedback, things they want to know? Question: is AI able to learn from a website or web page for FAQs or company information? So you can, I'll let you guys answer, but the answer,
Not yet.
yeah, good.
Not yet.
4.0, yes. 4.0, yes, it will be able to do that. But as of right now, because we use the 3.5 model, 3.5 does not reach out to websites and do like a crawl and grab information. That'll be at a later time. You can, like Adam was saying in the thing, you could make what's called, you could write something inside the back end of OpenAI that would do that kind of aspect. But as of right now, not so much.
So, I mean, you can, I mean, we use the prompt on ours to add FAQs to it, where if you verbalize it correctly, you can say, here's some common questions we get answered. If you get asked this question, here's your answer. And we've since changed it to, if you get asked some variation of this question, here is your answer. And that tends to allow it to catch different verbalizations of it. And I've found anyway on our end, Adam and Brendan, you guys could give me your feedback on if you're still using this or not. But on our end, I find it usually 90% of the time we'll catch those and give the answer. So like if we have it chatting back and it's like, well, just tell me how much you guys cost. It'll give the word for word the question of that. Like, what do you guys do done for you services as well as coaching? It'll tell them the answer for that. So it usually works fairly well as long as you're only doing 3 or 4 at most, and then go from there.
I mean, I think once you really get into like testing this stuff and writing your own prompts and just making it do what you want it to do, if you follow the same outline that we just showed you guys, most of the time it's going to work, 90% of the time it's going to work for you. I'm going to show you guys something really quickly because this is kind of how we do our onboarding structures for just about every single snapshot or system that we've ever built. And one of the things that we find really, really important when it comes to AI is making sure that like these are large text boxes. The more information, like as of right now, anytime that we're onboarding a client and building an AI for them, we're going through this with them because the more information that you can add into these large text fields, the better your AI is going to operate. So unfortunately, with this model, you can't shove in a website URL and train it based off of their website information. But also most of the time, you don't really need to. And in fact, we've used the conversational AI, which we've used our websites and links and frequently asked questions and terms of services, like every piece of information that we have on our website, we've trained the conversational AI on, and it still can't get it right. So keep it in a box, tell it what you want it to know, tell it what you need it to know, and leave it in that box.
Fine tuning. That was the term I was looking for.
Fine tuning. Yep. That's right.
Sorry.
So like this is a large text field here. You've got your personalities, you've got a calendar link, and then we've got like all of our FAQs with large text boxes for answers, right? So oftentimes in these FAQ boxes, I will be writing out more than just like, hey, how much does it cost? Well, it can cost anywhere between $97 and $1,500 a month, depending on your business's needs. From the $97 platform, we offer X, Y, and Z thing, all the way up to our $1,500 package that's fully customizable, fully custom to your business. Like add all that crap into your answer, because the more you add to that one answer, the more context your AI has to answer any other question that might come its way, right? But again, keep it in its box and it's going to operate a lot smoother for you.
See Rob leaning in on reading that. He's getting that down too. So next evolution of his bot.
Right. That's right. Yeah, it's a really good system. Thank you, Adam, for creating this, and Brendan as well too. I think it made it easier for me to at least get more familiar with the DHL platform. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that onboarding process where we use the survey and update custom values in the back, I'm literally building that for one of our clients right now. We've got a custom build going on, and I'm sticking to the same processes. We do this for everybody. It makes it so much easier for your onboarding processes.
Are those questions like available for the inner circle? I guess the survey questions, or is there a video that I can refer back to for? Because I'm at the point now where I need to streamline my onboarding. My onboarding is pretty colloquial in comparison to what you guys have.
Well, let me, so it's available within the snapshot that obviously we built, because that's how it's built inside the snapshot. But to give you a little bit of a leg up on everybody else, it's actually so easy. It just takes, it'll take probably about an hour of your time to pull this off, to create it. But all we do is we take, okay, what do you want your AI assistant's name to be called? So I'm in custom values right now. We're just going to copy the custom value. We're going to go into custom fields. You can literally have 2 tabs open and do this. And then we've got AI content folder, which has all of the custom values as custom fields. So now you just add the custom fields to a survey, and then you update all of the custom values in a workflow with the custom fields that were responded to in the survey. That's it. So if you've got a really simple system with maybe 10, 20 custom values, you can create an onboarding survey based off of your custom values in your custom fields. And then you just use a workflow to take the responses from the survey and update a custom value. And that's it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And again, like Brandon said, we do this for every build that we do. Are you guys going to make this a boring call, or are you guys going to hit us with more? Come on. I know y'all got questions.
So Cody, if you could hook me up with the link to where in the group I can watch the video for the onboarding for regular agencies, that would be great. I think you've given it to me in the past.
There's a couple of them. Yeah. I'll grab that for you right now. Yeah.
So this way I can create my own survey and stuff like that. And when you guys onboard people, at what point do you issue out the survey? After they book the appointment, or before they book the appointment, and then they book, like they buy the product?
It's the sales team's job to trigger. So like in the GSD, for example, when a sales team closes the person, they move the opportunity to closed new GSD student. We have multiple things because we do done for you ads and that stuff on the manager side as well. That triggers the onboarding GSD student sequence. That triggers an email and a text that goes out, and that has onboarding link to book the call, onboarding link for the survey, and a couple of preliminary assets like their student brochure and that kind of stuff. I also tell the salespeople to just book the onboarding call right on the thing, because we do a multiple onboard. As you know, you get Jamie for that, and then you get a session with me, and then you get this other shit, right? But their purpose is to make sure that the salesperson points out, fill in the onboarding survey before the onboarding call, so that the team is prepped for your thing. That's all mostly automated. And then when we do done for you clients and that kind of stuff, we have the onboarding. The thing in the course is a little outdated. It worked off of Zapier. You used to have the ability to just zap a new sub account into existence off of an onboarding call. Now you got to do this. You can still do it, but you have to do it through this code and all this shit.
Pabbly is still a good.
Pabbly is way better for that.
Yeah, I think Pabbly can do it the way that
Pabbly still can.
The old way. You still need the agency API key, but Pabbly can create accounts and update custom values and create custom values even. Yeah, I call it the dummy way. If I can do it, then that's what I'm going to use. If I can't code it, Brendan has to do it, then it's not good enough.
The funny part is that's how me and Adam met, was me helping out with that code on Zapier for the sub accounts for this group GSD.
Yeah, it used to be so fucking easy. So if the Pabbly version can do it now, the same way as it used to be done, then that'll be a game. So Rob, I'm sending you the direct link to the automations training for the onboarding. It has our onboarding survey form instructions, all that shit beneath it. And I guess you would just swap out then the Zapier part for Pabbly instead, if it works that way. So that would be fantastic for you. I'm also going to send you our client communications training, which has our infographic for the onboarding process and, leveraging the honeymoon phase, all that kind of shit for you to be able to keep your clients longer. So I'll send you both in Messenger right now.
And one thing I want to put on there about the onboarding process, Rob, this is for you as well, is might be another session we do with you at some point, Cody, but our onboarding surveys live inside the sub account that was created.
Correct.
They don't live in the agency level. So what we do for us is somebody buys, a sub account gets created. We do manual processes to connect a domain. We have our snapshot with the onboarding survey and the onboarding page because it's the same because we do a SaaS product. And then we take that, and once we've connected the domain to that funnel, then we send the link to the person who just bought from us. They fill that out. That then goes to a workflow in that sub account, updating all the custom values in that sub account. So now that sub account has their logo, their color schemes, their phone number, everything of that nature. It doesn't have to go from my agency account down into that sub account. It just lives in the sub account.
And I'll show you guys what that looks like here. So this is a super simple onboarding funnel, like no fluff, no fancy, nothing. All it is a survey that we've created that has every question for every custom value that we need populated in order for our estimators to work. And so all this is a website or a funnel inside the sub account. And then all we do is we assign a subdomain with estimator tools. And then what we do here, we've got a domain URL. So we just take the domain roofing.estimator.tools. And then you can do this for all sub accounts. You can do this for some sub accounts, but we then go and create a custom menu link. And this custom menu link is using the custom value that is going to be live in each sub account /onboarding, because that's the path of the onboarding funnel in every single one of our builds. So as soon as we put that domain in here, that funnel is now live, and that custom menu link inside that sub account is also now live for that client. So they can log in and go straight to this page and do this themselves if they wanted to. And that whole process there takes about 3 minutes. So we send that to one of our VAs every time a new sign up happens. And their only job is to go and add the domain and add it to that funnel. That's it. And then we're trying to get them to book the onboarding call because oftentimes we go through this stuff with them. But that's it. 3 minutes to onboard a client.
I think before we go into James's question, but I think that we should probably do another call on fully automated onboards. Automated clients. Brendan, just stamp that for us, and we'll.
No problem.
Thank you, Brendan. We'll do
Yeah. We can do it next month.
I was like, God damn it, Brendan, why do you keep fucking saying shit that we're gonna do? But we're gonna do this. I think this is good.
It's a good one to have. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
to take, and this is great for all the agencies that are here. Taking your process for onboarding. How long does it take you now? Just think about that. 1 hour, 2. That's what I used to do before. Yeah, it's miserable to do. Me and Adam came up with this concept, and it went from that 1 to 2 hours for every single client that we had down to, I think the longest I've ever had is 20 minutes, just because they had some special things I had to set up.
Which, think of how much fulfillment, how much scale that would allow you to have, how much scale back you could make your overhead with that kind of time savings on every single client, right? So being able to fully automate that process, but still being able to set it up for success is what you guys need. And that would be amazing. So, James, you got a question?
Hey, thanks. Yeah. So the AI, Adam, Brandon, you guys basically, this can run all the way from the initial outreach all the way through booking the appointment. And then how about for nurturing? Like, how well does it work?
Well, I didn't want to get into that on the full training there because it's too much for an hour-long training. But we did think about that, if you can believe it or not. And that is what we built out our AI newsletter structure for. And the AI newsletter structure is designed by default to go out every single month. And again, the idea here is that, okay, your AI is not going to be perfect in its response every time, but If you want your client to go from, 45 minutes writing and updating a newsletter to 5 minutes writing and updating a newsletter, then this is what that's for.
Which is part of the AI snapshot, by the way.
Which is part of the AI snapshot. It is included.
And in order to set it up, it literally is, you have to have just some kind of funnel that puts your client, their customers into the workflow that he's showing here, 002. All you have to do for your client is drop them into 000.
Yeah.
The newsletter's done and set up. That's it.
You just literally come into here, go test workflow, create a contact record for your client, drop them in here, and then have a sign up page for their customers to get into their newsletter. Or
they do need to fill out the bot survey so that the bot's trained, because we use problems from that as well. But other than that, there's no setup.
This is actually one of the most complicated structures that Brendan and I built with the AI system.
We broke workflows a couple of times in here. They're like, your workflow timed out. It is done. We're locking it.
Yeah, we did that a bunch of times, but this one's the most complicated of all of the workflows that we've ever created from a functionality standpoint. But again, like our focus is always go as crazy as you want on the back end, as long as it's super simple that a monkey could do it on the front end, right? Which is why Brendan just mentioned, add your client to this workflow, have a sign up that puts their customers in the delivery workflow. That's it. That's all you have to do. But basically the way that this works is that, and so again, you asked about long-term nurture. So that's effectively what this becomes, is your long-term nurture for your company. But yeah, put your client in this one. That's why I have big bold letters, internal only. This should not go out to a customer of theirs. We send a very simple email that says, click here and let us know what's happening next month. So they click there. It goes to a form that just says, tell us what events you've got going on. And is there anything, any special promos you're running? Is there any this, that, or the other thing? So they can tell you whatever it is that they're doing that month. Okay. And by the way, this is all done inside HighLevel using the ChatGPT structures inside HighLevel. We don't send it out. Okay. We wait 1 day to see if this tag exists. And this tag exists once they submit the form that we just sent them. Okay. If that tag doesn't exist, rinse and repeat, right? Go back up, send them the thing again. If that tag does exist, continue on. Then we take the values that they submitted in their form, and we get it to write a monthly newsletter for the company. This is their company speciality. So again, you need some of those AI fields. Current relevant information to include in this newsletter is, this is the field that they just filled out on their form. You do not need to include a headline in this email. Just write the body email, limit the character count to 1,000. This is the previous newsletter that was sent. Here's the headline and the body of the previous newsletter. Do not repeat anything in this previous one. We actually probably should change this prompting.
We do need to.
The current month is current month so that it stays relevant to the times in the season, and it's in this location, right? So we're keeping all the information relevant to this. Here are some FAQs that people will often ask. So again, we're using the FAQ section to deliver to the AI information about the company. Right? These are the most common things that people ask about our company. Use proper Oxford formatting in this email. Keep it short, 1 to 2 paragraphs maximum. Right? 0.5 temperature. Then we also just write a headline. So here's an email, write a headline for this email that you just wrote. Okay. And then we're going to update this custom value for newsletter. This is where it gets complicated, but it's really not. Update a custom value to pending. And that'll make sense in a second. Send an internal notification to the client that has the email headline and the email body. And then just 2 links. You could pretty this up if you want to do this in an email template, but confirm the newsletter is good. Click here. To rewrite it, click here. Both of these go to the same page that just has the headline and the text body and a submit button. on the actual form itself. So they can go and edit the headlines or edit any of the body that they want to edit so that it makes sense. And then we've got then we update the custom values for the newsletter headline and the newsletter itself. And then we wait for this tag, which happens when they submit that next form to confirm that the newsletter is good to go. If not, we update this to rejected so that it will not send. And then we go back up and we send them the email again to rewrite the email again.
So we go from pending to rejected or pending to approved.
Yeah. Whereas if they're good, they submit it, they approve it, goes to approved. Then we use ChatGPT to take the newsletter from the custom value and rewrite it to apply proper HTML formatting so that you get the spacing and everything else in the email properly. Otherwise, it just creates a big text block and looks terrible. So we get ChatGPT to rewrite it. And then we update the custom value with the HTML reformatted response from ChatGPT. And then we add them to the newsletter wait step, which basically just puts them in a loop. Okay, so they go into this one and then they wait until the next time that they have to go and write a newsletter, and it gets put back into this one. And it just keeps on cycling them in and out of this. So you get to determine the wait frequency, right? Is it 30 days? Is it 15 days? Is it 7 days? What's your wait frequency? And it just kind of keeps on looping it in and out of this.
So do you guys do this for your events on a monthly basis? Because I know, Cody, we've talked about this. Every time for me, I'm throwing a challenge or 3-day challenge, or I teach every single week, and all the emails that go out on a weekly basis reminding people to attend the events. Do you do a loop like this and you actually use the ChatGPT to create those emails, or?
Yeah.
No?
We're a little bit more lazy when it comes to our webinar events.
Yeah.
I want to get them out quickly, but the structure that we follow is the same as our onboarding structure, ironically, where we just have a form that we fill out that says, this is the new webinar topic. These are the 3 bullet points and benefits that we're going to be covering. This is the date. This is the time. This is the date time formatted so that we can use it as in a workflow. We hit submit. And then that updates the registration funnel. That updates the workflows. That updates everything. And then we can just send out the webinar registration information. Now, what we could do is when that form gets submitted, we could take that submission, all the data goes into a workflow that ChatGPT then takes, writes our email, and then sends an invite to everybody. You could absolutely do that. But again, you have to hold all your past registrants in a different workflow until something has changed in the system to put them into your new one. Right. So again, you can use that pending approved function. You can use
we have here with the 00001. So they go through 000. When it's done, they go into 1 until it waits for this use case, a date function. That date function occurs, that puts them back into 000 and start the process over. In your use case, it could be, a certain tag, a certain trigger. You'd have to figure out your triggering if you have a non-uniform timing schedule. Uniform timing schedules, set up a uniform timing schedule and keep repeating on yourself.
Well, what you could do, Rob, is you could, if you use that same example that I just used, you could set it up so that when you submit that webinar update or the challenge update, that it then goes and changes. So I'm going to show you this function because it's the same idea. In this case, we wait till the 1st of each month, but this is where you can kind of change what happens on the user side. Because what we did here is we have a custom field that is contact specific, and we update that custom field with the current custom value for the newsletter approval. So is it pending, approved, or rejected? So you could do the same thing. So if you resubmit a new webinar, you can then change a custom value to webinar scheduled, right? And if the custom value, and then you just have a loop in here every day, check to see if there's a new webinar and just keep them in this. And then it will eventually it will change to new webinar scheduled. And then they'll continue and get all the information about your new webinar. Registration links, the works, right? So you could fully automate that for sure.
Just make sure that you do a wait delay.
Yes.
We didn't put a wait delay. That's why we crushed it. Yeah, if you loop 50 times in a minute, it will lock your workflow entirely, and you have to make a brand new one from scratch. You can't even copy it. I don't remember.
Yeah, you have to delete it.
You have to delete that workflow entirely if it loops over 50 times in a minute.
Yeah. But anyways, that updates a custom field using the custom value that exists, right?
Mhm.
So now if that condition is met and the newsletter approval is approved, go and send the newsletter. But if it's not approved, go back up and wait until it is approved. And then at the second that custom value changes and that wait step expires, it's going to go, oh, yep, it's now approved. Go back and send the newsletter. So you can do the same. You can do the same function. I think one of the things that I would say 99% of high levelers don't know how to do is like leverage custom fields and custom values together to make this system do whatever you want. Whatever you want.
And so that whole part of the system, that's the internal.
Mhm.
You're not using Zapier or any of that with that.
No,
it's
it's all
all
using
internal.
the internal ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Now, really quick, Dwayne had a question. Can we use ChatGPT 4 to get new relevant information from a website to create the newsletter? My answer was yes, you can, but you have to use an outside source. What I mean by an outside source is ChatGPT native inside GHL is 3.5. They don't have the 4.0 version. So it's not going to reach out to a website or anything like that. You would need to webhook that information out to Pabbly, make Zapier as a one-off function, and use the ChatGPT 4.0 model in order to do that function. You could even, I mean, if you understand coding enough, you could technically use webhook and go to OpenAI and do an actual webhook into there and prompt and all that stuff. But that's a lot of programming, and I don't even.
Yeah, you need to code that in.
Yep. So that's what I mean by an outside source is you'd have to use Pabbly, make Zapier, and it would be like a one-off use case in that regards.
Everybody enjoy the rest of your beautiful days. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. And I very much appreciate Adam and Brendan for coming on because they over-delivered. As always, that was fantastic. Any last words, guys, for the party before we go? No? Just big
Good to go.
Cool. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Peace out.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for spending the time to watch that amazing training. Like I mentioned previously, my intention is for you not just to watch that training, but if you got something out of it, if you think this information is useful, I want you to continue that journey with us. And you can do that in a couple of ways. One, I want you to smash that subscribe button so that you get notified every single time we put another one of these out, which will be at minimum once to twice per week. The other thing I want you to do is go ahead and click that next video right there beside you so that you can dive in and get shit done. Hope to see you out there.